The Australian Maltese Chamber of Commerce welcomes new members. For more details, visit their website amcc.org.au. L-aħħar taqsima tagħna llum ser tlaqana mal-kantawtriċi żagħżugħa Jacinta Caruana.
My mum wanted to find a way to bring Maltese culture to the youth, and she has a lot of Maltese friends, and we know a lot of Maltese families, and she wanted a way to involve the children. So she founded this group with some folklore dancing. Initially, she was just teaching us some dances that she learnt growing up in Malta, and some different rhymes and things like that, and that's how it started, and it just took off. And obviously, fortunately there was a beautiful community that really wanted to be a part of it and get involved.
So you have been a dancer with the Young Maltese Australian Dancers.
Yes.
But you are also a singer.
I am.
And if I'm not mistaken, you started singing from a very young age.
Yes, I started getting lessons when I was about 8, but I was singing from the time I could speak, as the story usually goes. But being part of the Maltese Dancers, we used to perform at a lot of festivals, and so Mum really encouraged me when I started singing to perform some Maltese songs as part of the act. So that was a really special time for me, because it was probably the first time I felt a really strong connection to my culture. Growing up, my grandparents spoke Maltese and my parents spoke Maltese to one another, and so we had that familiarity, but this was the first time I felt that I could really be part of it. So I grew up singing some Maltese songs that people knew and people loved, and that was my thing for a while there. So I released an EP a couple of years ago, which I was gigging around Melbourne and gigging around Australia a little bit, and I've recently been writing some new material, and at a point now we're workshopping that with a band. So that's really exciting. We've done a couple of gigs with the new stuff and trying to get the feelers out there of what tunes people like, and then hopefully get into the studio. So that's an original project, and that takes time. It always takes a lot of time. But aside from that, I'm a vocal coach. I work at a university here in Melbourne called JMC Academy, and I work with a lot of their up-and-coming artists, which is really, really rewarding. And this year I've been tutoring the backing vocal section for the Victorian State School Spectacular,
wow,
which is a huge job, but a lot of fun. I'm fortunate enough to have a beautiful group of kids there with so much talent and so much passion. And it's not really work when it's like that.
Of course, no, it's when it's something that you enjoy, and it's always been in you.
Yeah.
Now, I know there's also a secret that you've been keeping all these years. Jacinta would love to compete, or at least submit a song for the Eurovision Song Contest for Malta.
I would love to for Malta. I would absolutely love to. I watch it every year, and I say to myself every year, one day I would just love to be on that stage representing Malta. I would love it. I've been on the stage representing Malta and representing Australia, in some big and small scenarios, but I think that's just such a wonderful celebration of, Europe and the passion for music and how it brings everyone together, and I just think it would be such an incredible experience. So that's definitely something on the to-do list.
It's there.
At some point.
How do you feel now that Australia is part of the Eurovision?
Oh, it's a bit of a funny one for me. I feel like, Europe has done such an amazing job all these years, and look, I think it's wonderful that they're embracing Australia, and that crossover of cultures is really special, and especially the fact that Australia have been getting so far not being part of the EU, but it's great. I mean, it's great that connection of cultures is really awesome. But if I was going to go in, it would definitely be to represent Malta, I think.
Fantastic. Go Jacinta and go Malta. We have mentioned the music, the singing. You have also taken part in a lot of stage productions, especially when you were younger. Tell us more about them.
Yeah. I was part of a group called Resurrection Amateur Theatrical Society, and that gave me a lot of my performance experience through high school. So I was there for probably about 10 years in different roles. I was on stage, I was in ensemble, lead roles. I directed a couple of productions as well, and was a vocal coach for a couple of productions. So that was a lot of fun. I got to perform the role from my favourite movie of all time, The Wizard of Oz, and I got to play Dorothy. So that was definitely a highlight. And it was just a great experience. You learn a lot. You learn how to move and learn really quickly in that kind of industry. So it's something that I always wish I probably continued on with, and I guess it's never too late. But yeah, being on stage it's a big love.
Having this connection, this big connection with Malta, do you find that when you're there, it influences you in your music as well and your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the songs that I grew up, I still, another little dream of mine is to re-record some of those songs. I've had a few people even being here, get in touch with me via social media and just sort of say, oh, I heard you sing this song one time at this place, and is there a recording? So yeah, definitely the music, and growing up singing that music, again, it's very nostalgic for me, and it really takes me back. It's just kind of a really pure experience, I suppose. So yeah, I'd really love to even just take some of those songs that I used to sing and record them and
so
put a bit of a spin.
So should it be something that we should be looking forward to in the next?
Look, I definitely hope so. I definitely hope so. It's always tricky with getting the rights to some of these songs. But I have been in discussion with a couple of people over there. Obviously can't say name anything, but and just looking at the processes and the steps to recording some of these tunes. From a female perspective as well, a lot of them were recorded originally by male artists,
yeah.
And it would be really nice to be that person that brought them to it, from a different perspective. So that's definitely a goal.
From the perspective of a young Australian of Maltese background, how do you look at the future of the Maltese community here in Australia or here in Melbourne?
Well, I mean, through shows like even this, it's so wonderful to see people embrace it and for things like this to really take off and for an audience to support it. And I mean, it can only keep happening through the youth, and hopefully that the youth embrace their culture, and whether it's through food or whether it's through music or whatever it might be on stage, hopefully they just keep that love alive and keep the culture alive and the interest for the culture alive. It really is going to come down now from our generation and the kids that we bring into the world, and making sure that they have an awareness of how lucky they are to have a bit of this in their blood. So I definitely think we have a responsibility now to just keep that alive and keep that going.
Pass it on.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll be lucky to have their grandparents around for a little while, but then the responsibility really does lay on us, and hopefully there is a strong enough community that take that on.
U dik l-aħħar taqsima twassalna fit tmiem programmi ħorta Maltese Down Under. Għal dawk li jixtiequ jibatulna kummenti jew suġġerimenti tistgħu tibatulna email fuq maltesetv@gmail.com jew għamlu kuntatt magħna fuq Facebook fuq Maltese Down Under. Jiena Marlene nagħtikom appuntamenti ħoral bħallum ġimgħa fl-istess ħin. Saħħa!